Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about a Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about Aabria Iyengar and her recent statements on the official Dungeons and Dragons channel. So, Aabria Iyengar, if you don't know who she is one of the top 10 dungeon masters in the world. So she has dungeon mastered for Critical Role. I believe she's also been on uh, Dimension 20. And she is definitely a celebrity dungeon master at this point. I was within 20 feet of her at PAX Unplugged in 2024. And, she was there, and whenever I see celebrities, I never really kind of go up and sign this. But I just count being in the proximity of as close as I'm gonna meet most celebrities, only because I do feel for celebrities. I think there's a lot of people who press up on them, and like I'm sure that gets uncomfortable at some point. So I just kind of don't want to be one of those people. And she was very nice. There were people who were approaching her and asking her different questions. But recently she was on the official Dungeons and Dragons channel, and this is interesting. It's really fascinating what Dungeons and Dragons chooses, who and what Dungeons and Dragons chooses to put on their main channel. And the reason why is I think it's really tough for them. Like, one, Dungeons and Dragons and Hasbro, they're really good at making Dungeons and Dragons, but they are not good at promoting it. And frankly, I think we don't really talk about this enough, but it's not necessarily a bad thing if you're not good at promoting your product. And the reason why is often that means you're really dialed in on the product, right? And there are a lot of products where the product is terrible, but the promotion is everything, right? And so I don't really take points off of Dungeons and Dragons for really not knowing how to promote their product. And often the best promotions for Dungeons and Dragons are coming from sources that are not Hasbro, right? So, but Hasbro put her on. They got her in, they asked her some questions, and they put her directly on the Dungeons and Dragons channel. And I want to talk about one thing she said today that was just very, very short, but really spot on and really special, and I think is absolutely true. So she talked about being a dungeon master, right? And I'm going to skip the most of the advice, because most advice you will hear from celebrity dungeon masters is exactly the same, right? And this is one of the reasons why I think B. Dave Walters is actually the best dungeon master in the world. He's one of the few guys where you listen to him, the advice is different, right? But Aabria Iyengar did say something different. She said, "Let the world affect you. Let the world affect you." And this is my jam, right? Like, I really believe that Dungeons and Dragons is this incredibly special thing, and that when you begin to interact with Dungeons and Dragons, you will never consider narrative the same, right? You will never consider identity the same. And so I definitely agree with Aabria Iyengar here. Like, you're going in with your player character, and what she's saying, and there's a lot of ways that I think this can go, right? So at minimum, if you're letting the world affect you, you care, right? You care about your fellow player characters. You care about the non-player characters that you're encountering. You care about the world you are building with your dungeon master. You genuinely care about what is actually happening in the world, right? And I do, and I think it's really important that she said this, because this is what keeps most people out, right? And that is, most people can't bring themselves to care about something that they don't see as real. Now, this, for Dungeons and Dragons, I am massively affected by every world I've ever been on, right? My heart beats on 30 worlds. I have 30 different sets of sensations, memories, emotions, experiences, right? And they impact me deeply, right? But I also understand, I've been thinking a lot about why people just like don't um, don't engage with Dungeons and Dragons. And like recently, I've been being invited over for football. I've been watching American football every week, and I don't get it. I do not get it, right? I don't get, like, there's so many things about American football that just drive me back, like, so really frustrate me, right? Like one thing I learned a long time ago is the last 4 minutes of a football game is 40 minutes, right? Like, why is there's just so many things about it that is just so frustrating. But the world, I just, and it's very difficult for me to care about American football. I've literally watched every home game of the Eagles last year, and I'm watching this year. And there are moments where, where something, exciting happens, and I can kind of understand, but every game looks the same to me, right? And there's some things that, like, I'm like, why do they never go long for passes? Why do they run and run and run and run? Why are the plays so unimaginative? Why do they show me pictures of guys writing down information on, legal path? There's just so many things. I'm like, how can people care about this, right? But people deeply care about American football, like really care, right? And I'm that way with Dungeons and Dragons, and I really feel that Aabria Iyengar is correct. Let yourself be affected by the world. Let that world make you happy. Let that world make you sad. Feel the losses that you gain. Feel the losses that you take there, and feel the victories that you gain there. Right? Like, let it impact you. Right? I think Aabria Iyengar is 100% correct. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.